Welcome, everyone. I am John Ryan of SportsMemo.com, and I'm going to bring you the NCAA Basketball Daily Dime Show for Thursday, February the 10th. We're just days before the Super Bowl, but we have plenty of action on the hardwood surface. I'm running hot right now with the premium bet, so make sure you get over to SportsMemo.com and get my packages, which will be loaded up right after I finish this show. So before I get to the 3-pack of free picks here, which are all graded 3 units, I do a 3-unit, 4-unit, 5-unit for those that are watching for the first time. 5 units are equivalent to a 5% max best bet. And that's as simple as it gets. That's the discipline behind the handicapping madness, if you will. And that's why I have been successful for 27 years doing this. There's losing days, there's losing weeks, there's even some losing months once in a while. But over the course of time and season, it works out quite well. And with that said, you have an opportunity to get Super Bowl to Super Bowl subscription, $600 in savings. So consider making a long-term investment because it's a great time to be an all-access client of mine. And you could have me start working for you starting tonight. So the days like tonight, Friday, Saturday would all be free. And Sunday, obviously, is the beginning of the subscription that carries you all the way through to Super Bowl 57, which occurs on February 12th. Of 2023. The cost for this, as you see on the graphic, just $699 right now. That's a savings of over $600 off the regular 365-day subscription that is normally charged at sportsmemo.com. So do yourself a favor, get on board with me, and I know you'll be glad that you invested in this service. All right, so let's get to the games here. We're going to start out with one in the West Coast Conference. And this is the Pepperdine Wave. They're going up against San Francisco. Set the tip at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. San Francisco opened as an 18.5-point favorite. They still are an 18.5-point favorite. The total opened at 143.5 points. It's now trading hands at 144.5 points. The San Francisco is 19-6 straight up. They're 13-3 straight up at home. Against the spread for the season, though, they've been a lousy 7-16 with one push. At home, they're 5-10 against the number. The last 10, they're 6-4 straight up, but again, 3-6-1 against the number. Pepperdine is having a rough time of things. 7-18 record on the season. They're 0-10 straight up on the road. They're 2-8 against the spread on the road. And they, too, are money-burning 9-15 against the spread for the season. 1-9 over the last 10. But guess what? The models that I have developed for the last 27 years, and even beyond that, because it starts back in 1995 when I was on Wall Street as a chief currency strategist, they all are aligned with Pepperdine here as a 3-unit play. And backing that model prediction is the fact that Pepperdine is 9-1 against the number in road games when facing a team who attempts 21 or more 3-point shots per game on the season. After the 15th game of the season has been played in games played over the last 3 seasons. San Francisco, however, is just a money-burning 6-21 against the number when facing a team that is only forcing 14 or fewer turnovers per game in games played over the last 2 seasons. San Francisco is also 2-11 against the number in home games when facing a conference opponent in games played over the last 2 seasons. Pepperdine 14-3-1 against the number in road games after 2 consecutive games, posting 9 or fewer offensive rebounds in games played over the last 3 seasons. Adds up to Pepperdine as a 3-unit best bet here. Pepperdine's trouble is that they don't have much of a bench, and unfortunately the starters in the last game, in a game they won, Pepperdine's Houston Mallett, Jan Zedek, Carson Basham, Mike Mitchell Jr., and Jody Smith all played a ton of minutes. So with that said, that's the problem with the Pepperdine Wave. I look for the Pepperdine Wave to cover this number easily, though, and continue off that positive win over Pacific as a 2.5-point favorite. They defeated them 70-64 at home in their last game on February the 5th. So they haven't played in 5 days, and they're rested. So it should be a good dog to get here, and one that might be live. So if you feel like I do, sprinkle a little on the money line, why not? Why not? You just never know in these games, and I always like sprinkling double-digit dogs. period. All right, so that's the first game. Now we're going to stay in the West Coast Conference, and we're going to take a look at the Pacific team against Gonzaga. Gonzaga, of course, number one in the land. They are just, it's a shame for the other teams in the West Coast Conference that they just dominate. And I think Gonzaga would dominate in just about any conference they were in. Doesn't really matter. Gonzaga here is known now as the Chet Holmgren experience. And I love it when I read that in a Spokane, Washington newspaper. The 7-foot Gonzaga freshman, as you know, has more than got game. And that term is just not even sufficient. He was named last week as one of the 10 candidates for the Karl Malone Award, which goes to the nation's top power forward, an honor that his teammate Drew Timme won last year. So it could be back-to-back years for Gonzaga winning the Karl Malone Award. In his last game, it was typical at the Holmgren experience, 23 points, 12 boards, 92-62 blowout over San Diego. That was on February 3rd. Then he totaled 20 points and a career-high 17 boards, 6 assists, 5 blocked shots in a 90-57 blowout win at BYU. That was 2 nights later. Gonzaga has also won 29 consecutive West Coast Conference games, the past 26 by double digits. But Pacific is it opened at 33.5. It's now at 32, and I think anything at 30 and higher is a solid betting opportunity on Pacific as a 3-unit play. So the records for the season I don't think are going to matter. 19-2 for Gonzaga. They're 12-8-1 against the spread in those games. They're 6-6 with 1 push in home games, though, against the number. So I think this is just too many points. And we're at that point of the season where Gonzaga doesn't need to keep blowing these guys out. They're number one in the polls. They just need to win. And win by double digits, they will against Pacific. But to win by 32, I don't see it. And I could be dead wrong, but the models all point to the bet on Pacific here in this game. And let's move on to our third and final game, which is in the ACC. It's Duke at 8 o'clock p.m., taking on Clemson in the Atlantic Coast Conference action. Duke is coming off a really tough loss. In fact, both teams are coming off difficult losses. Duke lost to Virginia with 1.1 seconds on the clock. Virginia hits a 3-pointer to win the game. At Duke, it was a rare home loss for them. They had played, I believe, 6 or 7 of the previous games on the road. So it was one of the first times they were back at home in a long time. Clemson is 12-11 on the season, 13-9-1 against the spread, and they are 3-7 straight up over the last 10, but 4-5-1 against the number. So this is a play, I think, where Coach K said it well. And he said in the loss to Virginia, quote, what my guys don't understand is that these teams are fighting for NCAA bids, referring to Virginia. Teams are hungry, and we've got to be hungry after we've eaten, and we had a big meal by beating North Carolina by 20, but we have to be hungry again. So I think they know, at least in verbiage, what to expect coming in here to Clemson. But I like Clemson in this matchup because they are the hungrier team. I don't know how else to say it. Duke knows they're in the NCAA tournament. They're 19-4, 13-8-2. And yes, that was a wake-up call to lose at home to Virginia. But does it really wake them up like it would if they were starting the NCAA tournament? I don't think so. But the market opened at 7.5. Clemson as a home dog of 7.5 points. It's now down to 6, despite the fact that only 40% of the tickets bet so far are on Clemson. That means the money is clearly on Clemson, and the big money, the sharp money, whatever you want to call it, is on Clemson, and so am I. And I like a little sprinkle on the money line in this game. There is a little betting system here, too, that has hit 76% winners over the last 5 seasons. You're going to bet on road teams. You're going to bet on home teams. What am I saying? Bet on road teams. Duke's the road team. We're going to bet on home teams that are an underdog, including Pick'em. And they're allowing 67 to 74 points per game after the 15th game of the regular season, and facing a road team, they're hosting a road team that is an excellent offensive team, which Duke is, 76 or more points per game for the season. And after that team is coming off a loss of 6 or fewer points, we already know that they lost to Virginia by 1. So that is 5-0 against the number this season already. It's 22-2 against the spread over the last 3 seasons. Hopefully this is not the third loss. These numbers are really, really strong and quite reliable. But on any given night, anything can happen. So that's where the discipline of this whole system comes into play. 3-unit, 4-unit, 5-unit. These are all three-unit plays. So I am on Clemson Tigers here with a possible upset of Duke tonight. So that will take care of the Daily Dime for February the 10th, 2022. I will be back later today with a NFL Super Bowl prop video with my prop bets, and I'm sure you'll want to come back for that. That's one of the most popular videos I do every single year, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks as always for watching this show, and always remember, bet with your head, never over it, and may all the wins be yours.